Warriors, is the great financial reset confirmed November 2023. We're going to read the letter off right here and we're going to break it down. We've been waiting for this moment for a very long time. My name is Coach JB. I am the top health, mindset, and crypto coach in the world. Remember, what you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Before I kick this off, I want to give credit where credit is due. TikTok, our new news station. Just kidding. New Creation Capital on TikTok. I want to give that gentleman credit here. This is where I got it from. New Creation Capital is where I got this information from. So I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. I love that people are out there researching. That's what's crazy about this world. If you want to join our private Warrior Academy Warriors, you can jump into our 120-day challenge to get your shit together in this new economy, Warriors. Subconscious mind programming, goal setting, vision board creation, access to my actual portfolio, exit strategy, 6 calls per week, access to ask crypto questions, access to our research team, our technical analysis team, and the best community in the world. Click the description down below to join the academy or our free Facebook group or the free Discord. All right, so let's jump right into it, Warriors. So I'm going to read this letter off to you. Thank you, New Creation Capital, for bringing this to the attention on TikTok. So this is the Banker Association, the ABA, American Banker Association. This is a letter on January 3rd, 2022. This letter was to the Board of Governors for the Federal Reserve System. It says, Dear Miss Bach, the American Banker Association appreciates the opportunity to comment on the notice of adoption message format requested for comment notice regarding FedWire, Fed funds. We know that that's where our pass-through accounts are going to be for our CBDC. Jerome Powell just told us this week that CBDCs and private stablecoins can exist together. I've been telling you that you're going to have cryptocurrency and you're going to have your CBDC in your new Wells Fargo and Chase Bank, your local bank. Okay, so FedWire, Fed's funds, and ISO 20022, ABA supports the migration to the new message format that allows for greater detail to be associated with each payment. We believe that the well-executed implementation of this plan is essential for the switch over in November 2023, and recommendations to achieve this are included in this response. The notice plans for making the migration of ISO 20022 for FedWire on a single day, no earlier than November 23rd, instead of the phased approach originally considered in 2018, Warriors. 2018, all of a sudden 2020, boom, the C word hits, gets us to look this way. They change the whole financial system this way. Okay. They postponed it in 2018 for some reason. A single day switch means that all participants in the system must have thoroughly tested their systems rigorously, or the system will be disrupted. This could be your black swan. It is important to note that in addition to FedWire, the clearinghouse also operates the private sector wire clearing system, CHIPS, what I'll show you in just a moment. And the transition to ISO 20022 must be carefully coordinated between two systems. Questions posed by the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve Board. Do you support the single day implementation strategy? If not, what strategy would you prefer? Answer: yes, we support the single day migration as the best strategy. Number 2, should the Reserve Bank implement ISO 20022 for FedWire in November 2023? If you prefer a different date, please provide a rationale. Yes, November 2023 is the preferred timeline for the FedWire to migrate to ISO 20022. It is important to launch on the same day as CHIPS, the private sector wire clearinghouse. Okay, we're going to go deep down this rabbit hole after this whole year, Warriors. I've been telling you guys this for 2 years that it was going to switch over. I came from the banking system, Warriors. I understand this. I went to CBA Executive Banking School. I learned how to scale banks. I understand how important blockchain cryptocurrency is to the financial system. Okay, so now we know that on November 2023, Federal Reserve is saying, yes, we're going to flip the system. We're going to flip the switch in November 2023. We're not going to phase it. We're just going to flip the switch. Okay, what is CHIPS? The Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The clearinghouse interbank system CHIPS is a bank-owned, privately operated electronic payment system. CHIPS is both a customer and competitor of the Federal Reserve Services. How funny is that? CHIPS is both a customer and a competitor of the Federal Reserve Fedwire service. The average daily values of CHIPS transactions is about 1.2 trillion a day. Let me repeat that. The average daily value of CHIPS transactions is about 1.2 trillion a day. That's the type of liquidity that could be running across these blockchains that they choose to run with. Okay, now you're probably thinking this is pie in the sky. This is facts, figures, numbers, logic. And I found this video. R3. We're going to watch this video. It's going to be a little bit longer, but I want you to sit down and watch this. Sit down with you guys. Let's watch this video. This is Wells Fargo, somebody from Wells Fargo explaining their switch to DLT. You have to pay attention, warriors.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today to learn about Wells Fargo Digital Cash for Global Payment Services. My name is Laura Fontana. I manage Wells Fargo's research and development activities for blockchain and distributed ledger technology. Since 2017, I've led a small team whose purpose is to discover.
Since 2017, okay? 2017. Remember, 2018, they were already implementing this. They stopped. They were going to switch the system in 2018. They decided to hold off until now. Why do you think that is, warriors? What just happened for the last 24 months?
The meaningful economic benefits for emerging DLT solutions with our line of business partners and to bring those solutions to market. So today I'm going to give you some personal context on what we saw in the market and how we arrived at our particular solution for global payment services. And then I'm going to tell you the story that we developed around the solution. And this story has been far more instrumental in generating momentum for commercialization than the actual technology or any of the functional proof points that we so very carefully confirmed in the process of developing the solution. It is this story that matters the most. But first, I'm going to give you my one woman's history of how we got here. And I'm not going to go over this content in detail. And in a perfect world, this would have built to the right.
Okay, this is where you really want to pay attention. Listen to the things she says about, they've been talking about this for a long time, warriors. The very banks that told you cryptocurrency is a fraud were already getting ready for it.
But suffice it to say, as you all well know, Bitcoin appeared in October 2008 at the height of a global financial crisis. I'm a product person. And at this time, I was very busy building retail digital money movement solutions for the bank. And so I definitely took notice of this new method for value exchange that had emerged. And I wondered if this could be something for the bank. And eventually I connected with the technology leads at the bank doing the R&D around it. And, you know, in the 2014 timeframe, we were watching the Bitcoin market volatility, seeing things happen there that were frankly a little alarming. And so like most banks, we concluded that Bitcoin wasn't for us at this time. But then there was this absolute explosion of new protocols because while it wasn't necessarily at the time about cryptocurrencies for banks, it was absolutely about this new transaction paradigm that could rewire financial services. So then everybody got into the game, even Swift, with their Nostro account reconciliation services POC.
So key, everybody got into the game. Look under 2014 closely. Pause this video. MTCoX collapse, Stellar, Tether, Monero, I can't even pronounce them, AXONI, Oxani, R3, Hyperledger, Digital Asset Consensus, Ethereum, and Ripple.
And that was something that we, Wells Fargo, actually contributed to the community based on an experiment we ran with another bank. And R3 was absolutely the rallying point for many banks. Some went on their own, and others tried to make it about Ethereum and still are. But, you know, also meanwhile, at this time, 2017, many, many more cryptocurrencies were launched, which was frankly a head scratcher for us. And at the peak in December 27 of the ICO craze and Bitcoin reaching almost 20K, suddenly it looked like maybe banks aren't the only things that can be too big to fail. But in 2018, where we all hunkered down to really hone in on the commercialization and business opportunity, Wells Fargo absolutely solidified the concept to create operational efficiencies in our global branch network. And that was through an internal settlement service for cross-border book transfers. We pre-announced our plans to pilot this. We called it Wells Fargo Digital Cash. And that same year, many, many other solutions were announced, some with caution and success. And
so their 2018 comes up again. They were already ready to switch the system in 2018. ISO 20022 was supposed to be implemented around 2018. They held off. They weren't ready, warriors. People weren't ready. How do you get the people ready? Lock them in their house, get them on their digital wallets. Go into your bank, warriors, and see what they ask you. Have you gotten on your digital wallet? Have you loaded your cards on your digital wallet?
And others not so much. Central bank digital currencies became a for reals thing because, well, like I like to say, nothing unites like a perceived common enemy. And in 2020, we see what are now many mature.
That was a powerful statement she just said. This lady is high up in Wells Fargo, warriors. She said nothing unites like enemies. They're That was, if you didn't catch that, go back and listen to what she just said.
Solutions coming to market and gaining market traction. And we're pleased to note in February in New York that even Paxos made up with the DTCC to launch their equity settlement solution. I say this all to point out that it's remarkable momentum for something that's only been around for about 10 years, and some protocols even less. And we're absolutely strategically committed and investing in bringing more DLT-based solutions to market in the coming year. So with that said, the experimentation process that led us to the product market fit was very iterative and highly collaborative. So Wells Fargo was very active in the early projects looking at cash transactions on a distributed ledger. And all experiments led us to conclude that the key is to have settlement finality in the system in a manner that improves liquidity and was not a drain on it. And at this time, we connected with a line of business partner that was implementing a suite of global liquidity management services. That's what GLM stands for.
Okay, so that's key. GLM, Global Liquidity Management Services. Okay, there's going to be many companies that do that. R3, Ripple, XLM, liquidity. Nobody can touch XRP's liquidity, warriors. That's what you need to really, really hone in on.
And these services were meant to facilitate multi-currency cash pooling and sweeps across our global branch network. And due to a combination of logistical factors like time zone, batch processing, operating windows, etc., some of the potential benefits were not able to be fully realized. And we sense that the combination of our R&D around cash transactions on a distributed ledger and the combination of GLM would certainly prove very powerful. So first, we experimented by enabling GLM to issue settlement instructions on a shared ledger between the global branches, and we stubbed out any of the actual use of cash tokens. This was very compelling and enough to drive us to a second POC where we absolutely did that. We actually settled the transactions using an issuer model for cash on ledger. And this absolutely proved to uniquely enable additional settlement services in the global branch transaction network for specific transaction type that no other solution could achieve.
Boom, right there. She just told you. No other solution can achieve these types. And I'm talking like there's anybody who's in distributed ledger technology. These are fundamental cryptos, okay? The ones that are ISO 20022 cryptocurrencies, okay?
And it's very simple how it works. And the key is that it's part of the system of record. So it's a utility to our system of record to issue and use digital to cash tokens as needed for specific types of transactions, not all. And those transactions are the internal cross-border book transfers. So branches pledge a certain portion of their operating funds to the issuer, and the issuer holds the funds as collateral. That's pretty standard. The issuer in turn represents the pledged funds one-to-one as digital cash on the network for each branch. And again, GLM is that payment engine which processes the transactions, completes all compliance checks, etc. We're not reinventing the upstream payment engine. And then it sends the target transactions into this network. Very specific, again, subset of transactions. And Wells Fargo Digital Cash, again, is a utility of the payment engine, which is the system of record. And it allows for that free exchange of the digital representation of cash between each branch without the use of third parties, without ever leaving the bank, and without the restrictions of the batch processing and other traditional operating windows.
Boom. I've been telling you guys, Warriors, banks are being squeezed. Their profit margins are being squeezed. They are now going to be cryptocurrency banks. They are now going to be able to do DeFi loans for you. You're going to see the spread where they're going to make their profits off of the low fees to do these transactions. The spread is going to be the fee that you pay the transaction. So it's so cheap to do it. You're not going to see that. The public's not going to see that. So they're going to charge you a margin, and they're going to be a fee-based customer service company.
So the solution really allows the branches to receive real-time value settlement between each other. And in turn, the branches can now give real-time credit to client Nostro accounts. All right, explaining how it works and what the product benefits are turned out to not really matter so much as why. And the how statements and the what statements, honestly, in most executives' minds, begs the question why, especially when it comes to crossing the great divide between research and development and commercial product development and operations. There's a big divide there that we have to cross and convince. So to do this, we now tell the story of why we are talking about digital cash first. And then we talk about what role we want banks to have in this new era of digital cash, and finally, how we plan to get there.
Okay, so this isn't like, are we going? This is, how are we getting there? This is how we're doing it, Warriors. And guess what? It's going to be on a blockchain, distributed ledger technology, ISO 20022 compliant cryptocurrencies.
Okay. All stories have a simple situation, complication, question, answer framework. And our situation is that we're experiencing the digital transformation of money. Digital money is highly programmable and controllable. Our complication is that anyone can create a digital representation of money and create any utility with it. And the question for us is, well, what happens to my business if other parties create and invent more efficient denominations of digital money? What happens then? And the answer is, if other more efficient solutions become available, our current business will be at risk. So this story definitely gets people's full attention. And with that full attention, we can then start to talk about what we should do about it.
Okay, so here's the thing, Warriors. Remember, resist it, sue it, regulate it, then join it. They know they can't beat it, so they're going to join it, and they're going to try to take over it.
So what should we do about this situation? What role do we want banks to play with digital money? Rather than seed new digital payment services to fintech disruptors and those with extensive digital networks already, as clearly intended by Facebook and the Libra project, we feel commercial banks should strategically invest in modernizing their payments and platforms and become the purveyors of digital money. We also believe it is vital to engage in the dialogue around central bank issued versions of digital money to advocate for the stability of the existing market structure while also driving fundamental improvements in operations and settlement services. And finally, the idea that commercial banks could eventually own the programmability of a digital US dollar and its distribution for many market uses is extremely compelling, because this would competitively position us to better meet customer needs, better meet customer expectations, while also maintaining market structure and improving services. So now we finally get to talk about how. And we feel Wells Fargo Digital Cash is absolutely a foundational step towards this desired future state. It will simply improve the Wells Fargo wholesale customer experience for global money movement with a wider operating window to improve liquidity and balance sheet management. It's very pragmatic. This adoption pattern also makes sense to us basically because of our unique position in the global payment services market. Applying a solution internally first will allow us to develop the required technical, legal, regulatory, and operational skill sets. And then once that is established, Wells Fargo will have the optionality to leverage digital cash and other services, and we can expand the capability bilaterally. And then finally, with standards that will eventually emerge, we could eventually become a network of networks that ultimately creates that new infrastructure for programmable money services. So our overarching goal is to achieve near-term customer benefits as well as long-term optionality. And this is not just for Wells Fargo. It is also for our fellow community of financial institutions and strategic financial services partners.
Strategic financial service partners, Warriors. Your whole financial system is about to flip. Now let's look at the timeline here. America, okay? The timeline for ISO 20022 until the end of 2022. That's when the timeline is. It matches up perfectly with this ISO 20022 timeline. So we know November 2020, right here. Where is it? Right here. November 2023, okay? 2023, they're ready to flip the switch. Okay, so here, 2022 is where the migration's happening. And then in 2023, they're going to flip the switch. Okay, now remember, ISO 20022 cryptos, 5 compliant cryptos to keep an eye on for 2022. We know which ones they are here. We've gone over this before. Where are we at? We got, story continues. There we go. We got Ripple, XLM, so XRP, XLM. We got Algorand. We got XDC. We got HBAR. We got, is Cardano in here? Cryptos are, this list includes Hedera. Yeah, awesome. So we got QNT. We got ADA, HBAR, Algorand. And I own all of these. Woo, except I do not have QNT. I have Ripple. We got IBM in here, XDC, Algorand. We've gone through these a million times. Whereas this is just exciting to actually see them in documents. Remember, this is a document that says, yes, we are going to hit the switch in 2023. And we got the timeline here that ISO migration in 2022. We know the compliant cryptocurrencies. Okay. So the Ripple XRP case is to bring in regulation. So they have regulation for these private sector, public sector coming together so they can regulate it and understand how to handle this wars. I mean, they just want to be involved in it. You got Bank of America, American Express. I mean, this is R3 with Wells Fargo. I mean, it's JP Morgan has their own distributed ledger technology. And we could just go on and on, Warriors. Blockchain distributed ledger technology. This is the World Bank. They're talking about it. I mean, they've been talking about it forever. This has been going on 2018. There's a lot of stuff around 2018. We got Jerome Powell says report on digital currencies is ready to go. He delayed the report for some reason. This was January 11, 2020. Man, he looks devastatingly handsome. Look at you, Jerome Powell, looking all fresh and handsome. The U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell today said the government report on cryptocurrencies is expected to come out within a few weeks. That could be bullish. U.S. lawmakers hint at upcoming crypto legislation as Jerome Powell says feds release the report on digital currency soon. Now, remember, Jerome Powell, July last year, said that no. The CBDC and stablecoins cannot coexist. And then a couple days ago, yes, they can now exist. He keeps changing his narrative. Inflation is transitory. No, it's not transitory anymore. We're not going to raise interest rates. Well, now we're going to raise interest rates. So Warriors, you can't believe a word they say. You just have to understand that as everybody looks this way, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. So we appreciate you. We love you guys, and we'd love to have you part of our Warrior family where we come together, like-minded individuals, to rise to the top, share information, and grow together. Click the description down below to join our private Warrior Academy to help you get your shit together. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go.